Okay, ready? One, two.
Wait. Let me turn it off so it doesn't do it again.
Bitch, don't kill my vibe. Bitch, don't kill my vibe.
Yeah, okay, it's off. It's off.
Okay, ready? One, two, three.
Last time on Geek Force, the squad talks about movie theaters reopening. We talk about Falcon and the Winter Soldier and how it's going to be interesting or not interesting, and we discuss our low expectations for the Snyder Cut. But we'll see what we're talking about today on Geek Force.
Welcome to Geek Force, the show where pop culture rules all. I'm your host, Kat. With me today is the amazing G Squad of Ray, Amy, and Marlon. Welcome back, you guys, to a wonderful, wonderful new episode of Geek Force. How's it going?
Wonderful.
Well, last time we met, we said we were all going to watch the Snyder Cut, and 4 hours plus some additional hours, here we are.
4 hours plus for some
But of course,
sunset.
But of course, the biggest breaking news we have currently is that Raymond joined the fray. Who's this? New challenger. Raymond joins the fray. Raymond decided to also watch
Ready
the Snyder
Player
Cut.
4.
After
That's more shocking than seeing the movie, honestly.
Right?
Because if you listen to us on Friday, or
he didn't say anything
last
either.
week,
He was
everyone was
like,
like, no, I'm cool.
A year ago.
I'm not seeing this.
Marlon, a year out ago, he said he wasn't. For a year, he said that. That's why I'm hella shook that he was like, yeah, I watched it. What?
It's because,
what else did you do?
It's because Raymond's a masochist and he loves it. It just
found
makes
out
him
you
stronger.
were one of us.
Fuel me.
The hate makes him stronger.
Feels so good.
Hate leads the dark
I also-
side, Raymond.
I know.
I ended up without a choice, so society has forced me into this
Who
position.
forced it upon you?
Society.
Lock your room for 4 hours.
Blink twice if you're safe.
Since I was thinking about it at a point because there were some reviewers coming out and the ways that they were talking about it, I was like, this sounds like this is like at least. It almost felt like I should watch it because I loved Man of Steel so much. This movie was like everything that I was gonna like about that movie in this movie. Not that it was good, but it sounded like that's what this movie it turned into. And then they started talking about they're gonna. WB is rumored that they're thinking about keeping the Snyderverse, basically. And I'm just like, alright, I guess I have to watch this movie and see why this is, why are we here? What is this happening? What are we doing here?
How did we get here?
How did we get here?
Because, I mean,
A fake media campaign of excitement? How did we get here?
Yo, it's when media campaigns go too far. Now we got it for real, and now folks are out here talking about, bring back the Snyderverse, and now it's like, oh man, we're in it again. Here we go. But of course, let's just talk about it. We've all seen it. How about this? Because I know the easy route that we can all take is to just go right into the cons. I love us just to say some nice things about this movie. Just at the top, some nice general feedback,
you mean
things
pros?
we enjoy. Some pros, yes.
Okay,
Some
I was like,
pros
that's
that we
that's the
observed.
whole episode.
Yeah. I'm sorry, what did you say?
I had my hand queued over the thing.
You say
I thought
pros
were
was the best part of the whole thing?
No, you got me confused because you said cons, and I was like, how are we going to say something nice about the cons? But anyway.
Super pros. But of course,
Got you.
I know this is going to be a difficult task, but you know what? If Wonder Woman was here, I'm sure she would tell us to just do our very best. So let's start from the top. Start with some pros. Kat, you first.
Well, I kind of looked at this as a filmmaker to another filmmaker. I am glad that he made this movie. I believe, a big part of why it had to happen this way. I mean, we all know he had to step away because his daughter died. And so it was hard for him to let go of something he was investing so much time. This was his trilogy. And so for someone like Josh Whedon to come and totally fuck it up and, release it the way it was in such a crazy time, I would be upset too, especially if I spent all my time, doing filming, editing, being close to the cast and all of that. So for him, I feel like going back to this project, he was able to, and I felt like it was very therapeutic for him to, work on this. This was the last thing he worked on before he had to step away. I really feel like him realizing, undoing everything that Whedon had did, he was like, wait a minute, I can actually just, do my famous director's cut, that's all I'm going to say, and give the fans what I wanted to show them for years. It's just how was he about to, how he's going to be able to do it, because during the time it was kind of like we didn't have HBO streaming, and if the movie was going to be super long, how was he going to release it in theater? So it was all a lot of ifs and stuff, but I think since last year with the pandemic, I think it was easier for him to be like, oh, this is the perfect time. I'll just put it on streaming. It's a 4-hour whatever. I think first they were going to do it in episodes, and then they did a movie, whatever. But the fact that it came out, a lot of stuff made sense. And I'm all about stuff that explains and makes sense. I still think the plot's kind of whack, but as far as characterization, it grew for me, and I'm all about that. So I really enjoy seeing the characterization of a lot of people. I was really glad that there was not a lot of Batman. Wonder Woman was still key in most scenes, but the star of the whole movie was Cyborg. He was everything. This was basically his movie to me. I enjoyed seeing the black and people of color in this movie, which ironically they're all cut out in the other one. So to see so many other characters who are not the main characters having their chance to be on the screen really reached out to me, and I was like, see, everything felt solid. There are a lot of cons to this, but I saw it as far as because I'm not a big fan of this series. Seeing it as an artist, I was like, I appreciate his vision, and I appreciate the work and time he put into it, and I respect that. And I get why the cast were like, watch it, and I was like, did y'all want a pay cut? No, this was something that, they worked with this man with. They believed in it. So, of course, they all wanted us to see it, especially with Ray Fisher. He was the loudest one. So I get it. I understand. You guys were amazing. Thank you for letting us see it. And that's all I got to say.
All right, Amy, what were your pros from this film?
Well, I guess unlike the Whedon version, everything was a little bit more succinct. It was a little longer, obviously, overdone. But I was thinking back a lot to when I watched the first one and how often I felt I was taken out of the storyline for things that would happen kind of randomly and didn't really make a lot of sense as a story, and was really frustrating, and why I hated it so much after I walked out of the theater. Granted, Snyder is long-winded ass filmmaker, without doubt. He doesn't know how to have a period at the end of a sentence. It's basically a run-on sentence but I feel like given the space he was given and the funding, obviously, he was able to, it wasn't perfect, it wasn't great, it wasn't amazing, but it was okay. I like that Cyborg got way more screen time, and you actually got to know him as a character versus Whedon. I didn't understand his character. I didn't know why he was there. It just kind of felt like an add-on that no one really cared about. And this one, he felt like he was cared about, and there was a lot of effort put into explaining how big of an impact he has in this team. I thought that was really great. Also, like Kat said, I'm really glad Batman was basically I will be the guy who gets the money, who makes y'all come together. That's my role. And I'm cool with that. And that was okay, you're not going to be trying to be Batman doing things like your extra self for 4 hours. So that's great, because he also was annoying in the original version. So overall, I think, there were some meh, but there was also moments where the storyline just felt more succinct, made more sense, and it just was slightly entertaining than the original. The end.
All right, thank you so much. I'll go and then Rima will go. I think, like you all said, I definitely think that Cyborg definitely came to show out. I can definitely see why Ray Fisher was really really upset. This honestly could have been a Cyborg movie. Let's be real. There were certain chunks where a good 20 minutes would go by and it was still on Cyborg having a full discussion with his like internal psyche or with his like father's recording. So definitely you can see why there's some upset, some things that are happening there. As far as any updates and tweaks that they made, they did some adjustments to Steppenwolf. He looked a little more spikier than usual, but I mean, they kind of did a good overhaul on him, I would say, like comparatively to the other one. I liked the graphic work on Darkseid, Desaad, and Granny Dearest. Even though she was like fully in the background, you can still see that there's some good the designers. So that looks nice, especially because you're introducing some pretty wild characters. So those look nice, and that's ultimately where my my pros end. Bray, we'll go to you.
Oh, wow, that was really fast.
Right.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm just trying to think of the. We're talking about pros. I liked. I liked this movie, but it was it was a hot mess at the same time. But I liked. At the end of the day, I think I just liked that the characters got to do all the things. Like, he actually cared about these 6 characters in this movie. He spent 4 hours to do it, but he cared about all these characters because they all got to do something. They all had some character development. He had a plan with everybody. They came together kind of cool. Like, their little meshes and stuff. And I think that's actually why I like this movie, because that's my favorite part of Justice League stories anyway, is just watching the characters get to be the characters for a bad guy. And Darkseid was scary. Until Superman came. So it was like I liked the bad guy. Like the little superhero part I liked a lot in this movie. I can't say that I liked much else, but I really liked the superhero part.
Wow.
All right.
I'm legit surprised.
I'm excited.
He liked something.
This is gonna be
Like,
good.
whoa.
This is
I like
gonna
that
be good. Now we get to come to the part where I'm sure you're all excited to listen to. We get to come to the cons, of which will most likely take the rest of this episode potentially. We'll see how far we go with this.
I might reference some pros
and-
once or more times.
That's okay. I think to start things off, I think one of the most notable cons was the soundtrack, and the notorious soundtrack that I'm sure you all have grown to love and hear, Wonder Woman's new jams. Exactly.
Oh, gross.
I think that if you want to really have a good time and make this movie more fun, this could be a drinking game. You get the Snyder Cut, it's 4 hours long. You take a shot every time that song comes on.
Get your stomach pumped.
Take a shot
We
every time that
don't condone alcohol poisoning at Geek Force.
take a shot every time that comes on. By part 4, you're going to be out. But again,
Part 4.
now mind you, viewer, by chapter 4, you're
No,
gonna be out.
just that far. I'm like, part 2, you're done.
I mean, just true. Come on. But for those of you who have not seen it, Zack Snyder made the choice to add a new theme song to Wonder Woman. And, Wonder Woman already had a theme song, but apparently they were like, no, she needs a new one. So they decided to tack on. There it is.
He copy and paste that from 300 probably. It's probably a lost file from that folder.
Oh,
But I feel like
Just the vocal part is probably from
this became a
300.
problem
Yeah.
that kind of grew, because that happened with that soundtrack and just kind of became a thing over and over again. And then we started to see that this movie basically decided to absorb the movie Sucker Punch and just put random songs over all of the scenes. So we had a new song that was just sung when Aquaman went into the water. These 3 women came up to the beach and just sang him an Icelandic song and then smelled his sweater. And it made
gross.
no
I hate that
sense.
part.
It was just like, he's like, why are you singing to this man that was in this bar with you? Yes,
Kat, I have a question for you. Did that scene remind you of the funeral in Lord of the Rings a little bit?
Yes! There was a lot of elements of Lord of the Rings in this movie, not because I'm
really?
myself, but there were scenes I feel like he took from Lord of the Rings, and that part reminded me of, you hit the nail on the head. And the fact that they were in Iceland,
smelled
too.
Somebody's clothes?
No. Okay, so there's a funeral.
Okay.
The son of Theoden.
Yeah.
His niece does this very long song, and it sounded very similar. And I was
Very
like, did
similar.
he just kind of copy it? Because it kind of felt like he did a little bit.
I mean,
Yeah, because it didn't make any sense why they would sing such a song like that. Like, that type of singing seemed like it would be very sad for a funeral, but they're singing because he's leaving?
And the question then becomes, do they sing that song every time he leaves? He's just like, it's like on their
downer
daily.
song.
He's just like, okay, I'm going back home. They're like, he's leaving. Let's steal one of his sweaters and sing him a sad song.
That scene bothered me because it lasted on her. The camera lasted on her too long. I thought a shark was going to pop up and eat her or something.
Many scenes
It made me uncomfortable.
Oh, it definitely gave you the chills of like, this is a real creeper. But it didn't stop there. Because then, like, you fast forward, but again, like, I forgot that in the beginning of this whole thing, when they're showing you Superman's really awkward supersonic death rattle that like echoes across the entire planet, above ground and underwater, because apparently he just has the ability to shout across the world when he's when he's like fully dying. They play this really on the nose song, and we all know that Zack Snyder loves to play with themes of like God and Jesus imagery, and the song literally just goes like, oh, we were told our gods would outlive us, but what do we do when our gods die? And the song was just so on the nose, and every song after that was just on the nose of like, we don't need songs don't add to these scenes.
It's a literal person,
And then of course we get like I think a super funny scene, which we have the Flash has a music video inside of a pet shop where we think he sees who we think is Iris West outside, and apparently she's just so smitten with how this very ordinarily skinny looking white boy looks.
Right.
She just gets like she gets like a full flustered rubberneck is staring at him, and she's just pulling out of this like parked position and doesn't see this like huge dump truck, which the driver of the dump truck drops a cheeseburger inside a garbage truck. You're not eating that. You're not eating that. Hit the ground. And he like just fully just like, I'm gonna keep driving. And then he just like, of course, like he hits the car, and then the Flash turns on MTV2 mode, and his music video starts playing. And then he has to run outside and caress her face and catch her and get a hot dog. And for a minute there, I did not know what was going to happen with that hot dog. I fully was like, where y'all going with this?
I didn't know either, because he's crazy.
He's already like feeling her entire face and just being extra creepy. This hot dog is just, I don't know what's going to happen.
He don't have clean hands. My only thing was about the scene. First of all, I don't know if the listeners knew, I was live tweeting the entire experience. I was tweeting for 6 hours. Like it was like a job. I was just, wow, okay. More respect to Twitter people. But my thing for that scene was, first of all, is that truck even authorized to drive down the downtown like that? Second of all, you dropped a sandwich.
That's a good question.
And for like 5 minutes, you're struggling like this. Nothing, like, not even thinking, like, I'm in a downtown location. I'm not gonna look up. I'm just letting you know, we're not on the open road, we're in a downtown. We're probably going through financial district, and you're gonna
spend 5 minutes
look under.
And that's what I was like, okay, happens right by the pet store, okay.
Right. I mean, all the other stuff had to happen because so Flash could have a scene, shoes burning off, whatever. Iris, I still think that's crazy, because if you like someone, I don't think you should be like, that's so creepy to me. And that's why I don't like him as Flash, but whatever, that's another story.
Ezra Miller.
That scene just, like, every character had a music video, of course. Because, but then with Cyborg, he had more of a story. It wasn't really
yeah.
That's why I was like, he's not gonna get a song? oh wait, he got this. Oh, I'm happy about this. But everyone had a song, you know. Even Lois Lane had a very emo song, but I think I had written, how can it be an emo song when Metropolis looks like this daily? Like, DC, your tone looks like this all the time. It's hard to feel emotions when this is the standard. Like, I can't go beyond, it's just another rainy day. No, you're like that all the time. Like,
Always raining.
the music didn't add into anything, you know? So, everyone had a music video, and it was the beginning for each chapter of the saga. I mean, okay, it's like a musical? I don't know. I didn't know where we were going with that. I was like, okay,
It was a weird choice. And then, of course, at the end, he's stuck in his ever favorite song, Hallelujah. Because it's almost in every one of his films, he plays that super slow Hallelujah song. And
it's
he made
because
it in
it's
there.
close to his daughter. It's close to his daughter.
But it's in
right?
every film, though. It's overused.
That's not the reason, Kat. That's not the reason. That's not the reason.
What's the reason?
Because
he
he
just
likes
liked
imagery.
it. And he, like, you know, is kind of full of himself.
But did you know his daughter's best friend sang that song? His
A
daughter
lot of
liked that
churches
song.
sang that song.
No, but I meant
That's
like
great.
in honor of his daughter. She liked that song too, and that lady singing was her. But like it was like a family
Is
tribute
that why
to
it
that
didn't
song
sound
as
that
well.
good?
Yeah, because it's amateur singing it.
Oh.
So
no
he
wonder.
did it on
Like, the
purpose
fuck?
again because it was like a tribute sign off toward his daughter.
So you made a good song
After-
sound worse. Congratulations.
Well, I mean, again, this is
also
a man that we
used in
said
every one of his
does not say no, you know. So he was like, I'm going to do it this way because this is for her, and I'm going to have it. Because I was like, okay, this girl's singing.
Yeah.
This girl is trying to sing.
And then aside from the soundtrack, I think another issue I had was characters. I think there are a few characters that I picked up on that I believe were just misused in the way they were used. One of them, of course, is Martian Manhunter.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Martian Manhunter being forcibly put in this film made zero sense. Again, we meet him in a scene that is like one of the most impactful scenes where it's supposed to be Martha Kent and Lois Lane having a heart-to-heart where Martha Kent and Lois are explaining and just discussing their grief. And it was a really powerful scene, and I was going to give it a bunch of praise, but almost immediately after that scene is over, her eyes glow red. I'm like, I swear to God, that's Martian Manhunter. I'm going to be so upset. And of course, it's full-on Martian Manhunter. I'm like, why would you do that to this scene? It undercuts everything you built up about this a beautiful moment, these two women characters. It's like, nah, I was fully just manipulating Lois, because apparently the Martian Manhunter had some forethought of, I'm going to need her to be outside when Superman comes back, so I'm going to need her to feel like she needs to go to work again. And it's also like, if Martian Manhunter is in this film, why is he not helping y'all? What is he doing for the 4 hours of this movie? He's just in the background pulling strings.
Oh, but then at the end, you guys, in one of the secret, 15,000 endings of this movie, he's going to roll up on Batman and talk about, if you need me, call.
He had the nerve to say, if you need me, at the end of the
Peace.
This is when I interrupt and
Ray.
say that this whole thing I think Martian Manhunter is proof that this thing only exists. We keep calling it what Snyder was trying to make the whole time, right? That's not what this movie is. This movie is what Snyder got lucky to make. At the end of the day, this movie didn't need to exist. Warner Brothers was bored and didn't have HBO Max content and saw a hashtag running and ran with it. And we basically and we just ran into a trap of this thing existing. And I guess it's fine. But Martian Manhunter why did they ruin that scene? That scene was clearly
Yes.
I remember hearing that Martian Manhunter wasn't even part of this franchise until it started running online. And so why did you need to add Martian Manhunter to this movie, and in the meantime also turn that scene into this horrible piece of thing? I hate Martian Manhunter now. He just totally manipulated Lois Lane to be where he needed her to be.
I was like,
That's a horrible way to introduce us to this character. But
Yes.
you only did that because the fans. This is what
needed
is
it.
We didn't need this movie. Half of these music videos that you are talking about, just all of that could have got cut down. Like there was other ways to do that. That was all Zack
Behind the
Snyder
scenes stuff.
and just like adding time and just he got to make the movie that he certainly wouldn't have gotten to make otherwise. And and so that we could have probably saved an hour of time on slow-mo shots, music videos, and every time there was a part like
Flash forwards.
like a part thing, like we could have saved some time. We could have got down to 3 hours. This didn't need to be 4 hours long. I multitasked
literally
through.
been
I
2.5.
literally skipped
Right.
through some of these scenes in the second half of the movie. That whole Flash thing, I was like, no, I don't need to. This is just another music video. Like, and then I think I rude to Lois Lane. I didn't watch any of her storyline with feeling grief for Superman, because also that gets undercut in this movie too, because she just magically gets him back through Mother Box magic, which honestly all of that is way better now. The whole superhero side of them being like, we need Superman and yada yada, like we're not going to do this otherwise. And I was like, okay, this was, I see why y'all did this. Y'all took a big risk on this. Like, you theoretically broke the space-time continuum doing this thing, like, but you got Superman back. Who knows if that was a good idea? But but yeah, there was just too
The
much
world will never know.
happening in this movie. I think I wouldn't have skipped through things if it just didn't feel so long.
It was just padded, so much padding, and Ray, I like that you brought up that the need to get the mother boxes was changed this time around, because it brings in my other issue of a character they brought up that I think was misused, which was Darkseid. There was no way Darkseid would have lost if he had come to Earth in the beginning of this film. Like, the Darkseid in the comics absolutely would have took over the planet if he showed up.
But
I get it.
But he's got Zeus. You had Zeus. You had gods. You had
Zeus.
They repelled Darkseid.
Literally. That's the thing, is that Darkseid, I think for people who watch both Marvel and DC, I think people think that Darkseid and Thanos are on the same level. Darkseid's on an entire different level than Thanos. Like, Thanos is basically, without the gauntlet, Thanos is just a super strong alien, which is still cool, but Darkseid literally has immortality, invulnerability, superhuman strength. He has the Omega effect, which means he can create things, destroy things. He has the ability to fully bring people back from the dead. He can change his size. He can be bigger, smaller. He has telepathy, telekinesis, mind control. He has teleportation powers. He's a genius level intellect. And yet somehow, with all these capabilities, he comes to Earth and gets hit with a battle axe and is like, oh, I'm done. I can't do
Thanos
this.
style.
Earth is ghetto. I gotta get out of here. I'm not coming back.
Earth is ghetto. It's a great line.
And it's like, literally, there are only 2 or 3 beings that are like his absolute kind of scary person. And that's Superman, and that's also Martian Manhunter. And those two can potentially take him on if he's not using any of his Omega effect. But you're telling me that he comes to Earth and Zeus throws some laser beams at him, and that Artemis is there, and also including gods makes it even more difficult that he again comes back years later, and those gods are like, we're too busy. I know we came last time, but we're a bit busy this time. So it's like, you opened up so many Stranger Things. Had it just been Steppenwolf, who's like, oh, I'm gonna steal this equation, and we get to see that betrayal, that would have made more sense than saying, oh, Darkseid was too weak to take over the planet the first time. And it's like, no, Darkseid would have fully come on Earth and Omega beam through every single person in one look, and just would have been like, okay, I'm here now.
But not Snyder's Darkseid.
Snyder's Darkseid is way too weak.
I have a question about that.
Sure.
How did he not know that he was already at Earth before?
That was another issue.
I'm like, if you were here before, how did you forget where you were?
He got his ass
I didn't understand
so
that
bad.
part. That was confusing.
He lost the recordings of the digital GPS that he was using for space.
maps.
Delete it from our history. Delete it from our history. Never come back
You've
here.
been here before.
Oh my gosh.
Apparently, that was the level of him getting beat up to where he just where he got jumped by the people of Earth.
Forgot. Everyone
and
king
then
forgot.
Everyone, Desaad forgot. Granny Dearest forgot.
Desaad.
The ship catalog forgot. All his minions forgot, and he just took off and was like, "I forgot where I was. I'm too embarrassed to go back there again."
They all win. Yeah.
So I feel like they didn't understand Darkseid as a character enough to be like, we should keep him like in this bubble of like, oh, I'm gonna wait until it's time to come, because if you bring him in too early like they did, it makes him seem not as strong as he actually is, and he's on a whole other level of strength. Like he has been around since the dawn of time and before that, so he should have easily won. Like he should have won that fight. Like I get it, you got your Green Lantern Corps, you got your gods and whatnot, but it takes more than that to take down Darkseid. Whenever he's brought up in like the DC comics or even the Justice League Unlimited, it takes a full like scale, planet-wide, multiple superheroes with multiple powers,
season.
multiple Green Lanterns, multiple star spectrums to like show up and help. And that army, as vast as it was, would not have been able to take down Darkseid at all. And then of course it just like makes things like lesser. It's like, okay, like he's not strong. Like why should they be worried? Because apparently these mother boxes don't feel fear, but do feel fear. Because that was explained wrong. It's like, oh, they're just boxes, but it's like they didn't come online until Superman died. But it's like, then why would they be afraid of him? Like if they don't feel fear or human emotions, this mother boxing is confusing.
That had me upset, and this is why I said I did not like the plot, because of just you destroying the lore of these stories and things in the DC universe. And I'm like, I mean, if people are really interested, I'm like, the best thing you do is just watch the cartoons. I mean, Young Justice did a great job talking about mother boxes better than this whole movie, and this is a cartoon. The mother box thing, and like, okay, I get it now, because then I think I even wrote was like, so is this supposed to be their Infinity Stones in this movie? Because this movie was made back, right after, like right after or before Infinity War. So I was like, okay, I was still at the time where they were trying to be like, we can have our own superhero saga too, and so at the time we did not know what that looked like for DC. So I'm watching this movie and I'm seeing elements of, of everything, Lord of the Rings, but also Marvel, and I think, he thought of Darkseid. I'm not saying like, oh, he did his research, because I don't think he did his research at all. He was just looking for a villain that had Thanos-like stuff, even though that's not even in the same category. But I mean, Thanos would definitely take out this Darkseid, because he took a battle axe. I was like, I'm not gonna lie, when he got hit and he fell down, I was like, is that a fake Darkseid? Is that a clone? And I'm like, did this movie get interesting? But it was still the real Darkseid. I was like, oh, wait, how did he get hit? Like,
I was so disappointed in that scene. I was like, did y'all, like, that's all it took? He's like, no, I'm out. I can't do this. I'm hurt. Just like rolled up his sleeves like,
he was like,
I'm done with this planet. I need to leave, y'all. Let's get me out of here. It's like,
but
really?
then I want to come back. I want to come back though, because it's got something I need. So y'all go in the ghetto and get it for me, and I'll reward y'all.
Also, the issue becomes like, he didn't need the mother boxes to get to the planet the first time.
Right.
And then it's like, but now he needs them to get to the planet? And it's like,
now he gets to, yeah. See, I did that part, huh?
Because again, the mother boxes are mostly access of like, great, I'm going to teleport you from here to here, which you can get from the comics. Like, great, like, I'm going to open up a whole thing of mother box and like transporters from like Apocalypse to New Genesis or whatever. So it's like, had it just been like Steppenwolf showed up to try to steal the life equation, and then he gets beat up, and then he comes back, and Darkseid's like, where have you been? I heard you trying to steal the life equation, and he gets punished, but like, maybe he's like not going to tell him where it is because he wants to go back again. That would have been a lot more integral to us knowing Steppenwolf's motivation. We know that he messed up and tried to like take something from Darkseid. This could have been that. We know that he's on like a redemption arc. They could have easily tied these things together to make it more believable, other than like throwing stuff at a wall, and now we're all like pointing out plot holes because the movie also is pointing out its own plot holes of like, you didn't say that like an hour ago, but now you're saying this now, and none of this
Yeah.
lines up with that.
Conflicting. I did appreciate Desaad. I really liked his character and how he
I like
always
his
popped
name.
up just to tell. Yeah,
Just a
I
full
was like,
black
you know,
name.
exactly.
was like,
Thank
"You
you,
said
Marlon.
Desaad?
I said
I
that
like
on
Desaad."
Twitter. I was like, you know, his mama was black. You know, he didn't play when he was growing up.
Desaad, get your
I
ass
liked
in the
that he
house.
came to be like Steppenwolf. Like, you gonna do what you gonna do, but you're gonna fuck up. No, I got you. I'm gonna do this. And he's like, nah, I'm here to tell you you can't, but if you can't, then at least try to get the boxes. That's all you gotta do, because you fucked up last time. He's like, I got it. And he's like, well, great. He went back and told Darkseid, yeah, he's not gonna do it. He's not gonna do it. And then when he died, he's
Full
like,
hater
what did I
status.
say? I was like, Desaad is like becoming one of my favorite characters. That wasn't even supposed to happen, but I really enjoyed every time he appeared in that scene. I mean, that was all I'm gonna get, but
It was full
I
catty the
love
whole time.
Desaad.
He was like, didn't I tell you?
Did I
not
tell
tell you? He wasn't gonna do
Oh,
it.
Desaad.
He
I
wasn't
wish
gonna
there
do
was
it.
more feature on the villains, because to me, there were times where I was like, I want to see more of the villain side, because they seem like they were just ready
DC
to just...
villains are the best villains of
They
comics.
are, and they didn't...
Like, they're way
you know,
better than Marvel villains, and they like always have better backstories and better motivation for what it is that they're doing.
Yeah, and I wanted more, but, you know, again, the way this movie was campaigned and created for the superhero side, we were never going to get that. Regardless of any DC movie, we're never going to get that villain view, which is disappointing.
Yeah, and then like I think another try I had is like for some reason there's this thing they're doing with Batman that confuses me to where he's not a detective for some reason. Like half the time Alfred is like doing all the research or Alfred is like doing all the investigation and just handing Bruce like a folder and I'm like,
right.
what are you doing, Batman? Like Bruce, you're supposed to be a detective. Why is Alfred
Did he-
literally
did he
carrying
say-
your research department and you're not doing anything?
Didn't Batman say I work for him, like in a jokingly way? And I'm
At a
thinking
certain-
maybe he was being for real, y'all.
Yes,
Maybe
it's
Alfred's
like-
really the brains behind the... I
it's
mean,
like-
this is a Batman that we all did not claim. So maybe he... Remember, I don't know. Years ago when I saw Justice
not
League,
the
I was
worst
like, this
Batman.
is like one of the worst Batmans ever because he's not a good Bruce Wayne. He doesn't show any intellect. He's more of the... whatever.
He's
But-
more of a
money.
brawler, apparently.
Right. So he's not a thinker, which is a huge part of Batman. And with his superpowers, he didn't say I'm brilliant. No, I'm rich. And I was like, oh, you don't use your brain. So it makes sense in a way if Alfred, aka Ozymandias, I mean, he was.
Ozymandias?
I feel like Jeremy Irons was wasted in that role because every time he was with Ben Affleck, I was like, fuck Ben Affleck. I want to see more Jeremy Irons. He was the
researching
man in
that time.
charge.
Although
Right. He was
making
researching
all of
Irons
Batman's
man
tech.
explained tea.
Right. Like,
Trying to say that was
Yeah.
kind of weird.
I think that was him being like, I don't like being served. I'm kind of uncomfortable because Daniel was
That
like, hey,
part.
I'm going to serve you. He's like, okay, I guess. But you can tell he's like, I like mine a certain way. Okay, I'm going to do it. Don't do it.
That was such a...
Because I think it showed him being uncomfortable with someone, like, which is weird. Because like you're like, it was weird. It was like, yo, like, just say you don't like being. He's like, oh, I'm the butler, and I don't like having someone butler for me. It just showed this really weird mindset around like, I don't like.
Snyder.
But it's fine. I mean, that was a weird thing. I just think like this Batman for some reason is just being. I mean, even when he was on Batman v Superman, they at least showed him doing some research. But I think with each subsequent film, he's like stopped actually doing anything that has to do with like detective or sleuthing. And he's like, great, offer, like point me in direction. I'm gonna like put my money and my funds and my fists at it. And then we get this film where half the time Batman's getting his butt kicked. Like he's just getting thrown around the room. He's fully getting ragdolled. Like I think at a certain point he is like having a hard time fighting because he lost his grappling hook. And then they had a full scene where they showed you that, oh, here's the grappling hook, and he like jumps for it, as opposed to like, oh, I have a batarang, or like some other like kung fu's like, no, I need my grappling hook to fight, and he just like runs at it. I'm like, what is happening to this Batman?
Not
And
my
it's like-
Batman, never.
And it's like, yo, if you're gonna make him old man Batman, you need to at least make him smart old man Batman. Like, great, I'm not gonna fight him. I'm gonna be a smart person, and I'm gonna like use like the tricks of my trade. Like I'm gonna use a full hallway because you have wings, so you get stuck and like fight you. Like I'm gonna fight smart as opposed to like just jumping in and like getting kicked in the middle of a room. It's like, Where's your Batman-ness in these scenes? They don't make any sense.
And have you been Batman for hella long? This is what you have so far?
I mean, he went from branding prisoners to just being really terrible at his job. Oh, Bat. I mean, I think honestly, if he didn't have the Nightcrawler and his car, there would have been nothing for Batman to do in this film. The only time he even became useful in like the climax was when he got a gun and was shooting aliens, and that was the one useful moment of like, great, I'm gonna shoot people because apparently I'm not gonna use my like years of ninja skills that I learned from Ra's al Ghul. I'm not going to use any of my like equipment that I personally made from Lucius Fox, or he's giving me. Like, I'm not going to use any of that. I'm just going to shoot at you and hope for the best.
Can we talk about how many times he picked up something that looked like a gun? Because even in like the flashback beginning sequence of him using the gun, I was like, this Batman is using a lot of guns for me. And it's making me feel uncomfortable. Like,
Cat's triggered.
I was like, this doesn't feel right at all. I don't care, because he has a different. No, I don't care. Batman does not use guns. The only gun he has is this gribbling thing, and he don't even use it all the time.
That's not true at all. You are incorrect.
Yeah,
Batman uses guns.
Uses them a few times.
Lots of guns.
He uses a freeze gun. He uses.
I meant the guns in this movie, you guys. You know what I mean.
I know that, and
typical
I'm saying
human guns.
And I'm saying from
clear.
the history of the Batman comic books, he uses guns. Go back and read some
that's
Batman.
Good.
Like, it isn't weird.
But in the context of this
weird.
movie,
but he's always using gun in this franchise.
I see that's the.
He's used guns in every movie of this franchise.
He uses guns, but like the fact that he doesn't have anything else to back up is like guns is his number one thing to fall on.
I know. I'm not disagreeing with that part. I'm just saying.
That's what I mean.
You said it was weird that he was using guns.
He uses guns,
I disagreed
but
with you.
because he's Batman. You have
Batman
money.
Uses guns.
You're gonna be just picking up guns off. I know, but like what Marlon was saying, you can do all these things. You can do all those things and use guns. Okay, cool. But you can do all these things and you're just gonna be like, I got a gun. Like, you're fucking Batman. You have $1 billion, this. It could be $1 billion gun. But he's not doing that.
And I do feel like in the comics, whenever Batman has used a gun, it's always been like a focal point of like, oh, he picked up a gun. And they've always like made a statement about, oh, I picked it up because of X, Y. It's always a big deal in the comics whenever he picks up a gun to use. It's like, why'd you use that? He has to explain. He has to explain the situation, or he has to explain like, oh, I did it because of X, Y, Z. Because
I'm gonna give
like,
y'all some
even
Batman,
with like
some Batman comic books.
No, even with like the Tim verse on Justice League Unlimited, even in the Nolan verse, there's always been a whole point of like him either discussing no guns or him either saying, or then when he does break it, then they have like a full like weird like dialogue about like, oh, like hey, it was here.
They should have just brought Deathstroke and left Batman at home is what I'm trying to say.
Neither the Tim verse nor the Nolan verse that you just mentioned about guns are comic books. I'm saying in the comic books, this is not a unique thing.
Oh no, the Tim verse had a 25
TV,
spread.
he was always against guns in
but we're
TV.
Not there, but we're not there, Ray. We're not there.
We are there.
We're in Snyderverse.
We're in Snyderverse.
In the movie world.
Where he's very comfortable with guns. I don't understand why it's still a problem.
Not only that comfortable, but that's like his main super thing.
It is.
That's his main super thing, and that's what I've been saying. Like,
it's, I don't know. It's less boring than
they should have just bought Deathstroke. That's all I keep saying. Like,
yeah, I guess
he's having a good shot. But hey, he's rich. He wasn't lying. He was the one that backed up everything. So
he was.
Cheers to Batman. Having money to flying people around to the places.
That is true.
Actually, did a toast to that.
I also think because it also seems like because Aquaman had his film, that there definitely was a very little to like add anything new to Aquaman's backstory. And maybe because his film had come out and they didn't need to, but it definitely felt like Aquaman out of everyone got the short end of the stick in terms of character development, where it's like, you had your movie. We don't need to add anything new. Mera got waterbending scenes, so that was really cool.
And waterbending, yes.
So we got to see that.
I was like, what? Why did she use as an Aquaman? What?
Because she's no longer in it.
Yes, she is, isn't she?
Nah,
We don't want to talk about that.
They removed it.
They did?
Hopefully.
I thought that was
Apparently,
like,
they were saying they were
incorrect.
going to like replace her with someone else.
Yeah, and then they came out and said they're not doing that.
Yeah, because
that's the last I saw.
She's still
Something
on
like
the
that, right.
film, but Warner Bros. Is making it difficult for her to continue because they're thinking if they keep doing their Warner Brothers ways, that she'll leave. But she's like, I'm not leaving, even though Warner Brothers could just fire her. Like, I don't know why they can't just do that, but they're like making it hard for her to work in like work conditions so that she can just quit and then they can do what, because they know what the fans want, but it's hard, I guess, contract-wise, to get rid of her. And so, yes, we don't want her there, but she's still there for now. For now.
Time will tell. We'll see what happens with that film. But yeah, so we have those characters. Again, I think I brought up the gods earlier. I think that one for me was really weird because we know that gods exist because of the Wonder Woman movie, because we got to see Ares, and then in this scene we see them taking like a very visible stance in front of all eyes, in front of the Atlanteans and the Themyscirans and the humans. And I think it was a cool scene to see. Like, it looked great, but it also brings up issues of, like, one, if I'm Zeus and I just saw these aliens come to my world and almost destroy it, I know that the Atlanteans are going to take care of their mother box. I know that the Themyscirans are going to take care of their mother box. I am not giving a mother box to the realm of man. Like, I fully am not giving it. Like, I'm going to say thanks for your help. This is going to Mount Olympus with me. Like, I do not know how it was decided. Yes, let's give it to the youngest people on this planet, the men, and they're going to take it. And what?
Have no powers.
And they just dump it in a hole. It's like,
In a hole.
It's like, like Zeus should be like, this is going with me to Mount Olympus, so I'm going to hold it somewhere else. I feel like that would have like made more sense. It's like, great, I live in a realm that most people can't get to, and also like it's literally going to be surrounded by gods. So I'm going to take this with me and just put it in our fountain somewhere, and it'll be safe because who's going to roll up on Mount Olympus and not expect a ruckus to like pop off?
Right. I was disgusted by that scene. I wrote how, the Atlanteans, they dipped it in some Kraken juice and, locked it away. Themyscira had a special room, The humans dug a hole and threw it in there, and they were like, well, it's good. I was like, so the Green Lanterns, the god, nobody else. We're just going to leave it with these people. Okay. I don't know what else to say.
I don't want to veer off too far from why did we get this movie? Like, why does it exist?
Was said his trilogy. That was his thing. He wanted to do the three-parter, which was going to lead to another trilogy, or like the start of another trilogy.
Did we talk about those yet? And I tuned out.
Yeah, we can go there.
The epilogues.
The epilogues. Let's go to the epilogues because they
12,000 endings.
I don't have a lot to say about these.
Of course, I mean, we discussed like the Martian Manhunter scene where he rolls up and he says this really weird thing to Bruce, like, your mother and father will be proud of you. And I'm like, how do you know them? Like, why would you say this? You just met this man.
That's triggering. Like, you don't say something about that man who... We already know his grief, where if you want to make Batman emotional, that's what you need to say. Like, you don't just drop it like that. But whatever.
But also, like, if you're
Batman,
a stranger and you come up to me and you say, hey, your dead relative will be proud of you, you'd be like, wait a minute, how do you know that? And also, like, excuse you, we're not that close. Like, you're not just going to say that to me in the air.
Met you.
Why did Batman not punch him? Like...
I mean, he didn't have to get violent, but it should have been like, this is weird. Like, I don't know you, dude.
They
Also,
usually do.
Where were you
It
for the
almost looked
past, like 24 hours?
No, I swear Ben Affleck was in front of a green screen in that footage. Like, it just, something about it looked funny. It was such an afterthought. I would rather the one that I was more interested in was I guess, attempt at as like here's a sneak peek
Nope,
of
don't
what we're
talk
gonna
about it.
do for this whole like Red Sun Superman
Nightmare
idea,
universe?
Nightmare Universe idea. And what I really think is hilarious about it is that they really thought they were at a point in this franchise where they could film that scene and like get a positive reaction out of an audience with like, oh yeah, Nightmare Universe. Like, they got really excited about that it was in that movie. It was so unnecessary. Like, why did y'all think that was a good idea?
I mean, I think he was like, yo, they're gonna love this. Like, Twitter's gonna love it. And we got
A lot
to see,
of people did like it though. That's the crazy thing. They said it's the best
got to see
scene.
a white mohawk Deathstroke, which I don't understand. Mara like really
far
cranked
feature is
up
this?
her British accent to like
Where her
the 10th
accent was
level. Just
bloody horrible.
Oh, hey, this is it's just like, who are you all
they
of
did
a
to
sudden in
Arthur.
this scene?
It's like it is literally like looking in. I feel like Abed Baroque in that scene. He's finding Error 404s in his head because am I watching The Boys or am I watching the DC Cinematic Universe? Which show am I watching when I watch that scene? Because I felt
It
like
did
I was
feel like
literally
that.
living The Boys in that scene.
It's like,
I
what's
don't-
going? And then I think to top it off, like you had that super cringy dialogue between Batman and Joker,
Yeah,
where he has that
it was
seagull.
horrible.
That's his laugh, and I was like, what?
No.
It got worse. His laugh got worse. How did it get worse, Jared Leto? What happened?
It was
I don't trust
strange.
Jared Leto.
It was strange.
And then he talked about giving Batman the reach around, and it was just like,
Well,
you didn't need to visualize that, Joker.
Batman literally said in that scene, "I'm gonna fucking kill you," and it's like there was a lot about that scene that was very special. But I think my favorite part is that again, they really thought those were good lines. Like people wanted to see this. Like I
Zack
guess
Snyder
yes,
wrote it, so you
because they
blame
finally.
him.
Snyder wrote it.
I am.
Okay.
I'm trying to. The Jared Leto is what? Like you're actually going to use him now? No, you're not. Like this universe is getting thrown to the side. Did you forget
Raymond.
the past? Did y'all forget the past? Like 5-6 years before this, where no one was liking anything else that came before it. Like why are we just forgetting literally forgetting the past right now? WB. This isn't even that great. Like
Because
Because we're in a
money.
pandemic.
It's all Zach's idea. But the thing about it is, Raymond, the fun thing about that is that there's a black and white version of the Justice League movie that's also going to come
wanna hear
out.
about
There's a third version of this movie because it's
Why are
Zack
you
Snyder.
talking about
There's
it?
a third version.
Why are you doing
And in
it?
this
Are you just
version, he
trying to
has
kill
more
me?
Jared Leto scenes.
Why are you
He has
trying
more
to
kidding
Jared
kill
Leto
me?
scenes.
Are you?
And I
He's
was
literally
like, Zach,
stabbing me in
stop,
the chest
Zach.
and twisting the knife deep in my sternum. This is what he keeps
like,
doing.
I agree.
I don't want to hear
It's
How
about
to
it.
kill Raymond.
It was...
Didn't he just kind of
Torture
just
me
do
with DC
enable the
universe
black and white
movies.
feature and then just sell it for hella money? That's cheating.
That's how you make money if you're Zack Snyder.
Dang.
And what's crazy is, like, I think he did an interview with the New York Times about this coming out, and like they were asking him questions like, "Hey, like, if you look at more successful DC films like Aquaman and Shazam, like, does that make you think differently about how you're doing your movies?" And he was like, "No, it doesn't. Like, my movies are controversial and they have like a cult following, and that's what I like about them." And I'm
They
like,
do.
"Oh, so you like making films that are not
Upset
great,
people.
but are upsetting enough to where like it just sticks around for a longer time?" And then we talk about which we're doing now. Like, he likes films that have this like audience of like,
Hey,
Zack
Zach, what's
Snyder's
up?
great. And everyone's like, it's not that great. They're like, no, he's awesome. And we're just like, this film didn't need to be 4 hours and it served zero purpose to the overall thing. And also, DC told him, yo, Whedon's movie's canon. And I'm sure, and like even currently right now, like people are doing the new hashtag release the Snyderverse because they want him to make more of these films.
Release the Snyderverse.
And it's like, bro, like his movie, it did some good things, but it wasn't all that. Like that last scene where they tried to shoehorn in the Nightmare verse really proved that dialogue. That's what we would get in a film where he was going to be behind the wheel again. A film where Batman's like, I'm going to effing kill you, and Joker's like talking about getting the reach around, and he has that seagull laugh some more, and he has like a full like bulletproof vest full of dead badges, and it's like, what's the point of this Joker being with you, Batman? Like, I don't understand what's going on right now.
I don't get it.
This makes
and then the worst part was they had I don't know if it was in the same interview, but it was an article that charted out the next two movies if he stayed on to do Justice League 2 and 3, and how, in the end, Batman was going to have to sacrifice some stuff to make everything be right again. And when Clark and Lois get together and they have a son, that son's going to grow up to be Batman. I read that and I was like, why? Why even? Like, I'm glad that's not happening, but at the same time, I'm scared that could happen, Like, I'm disgusted. Another version?
Well, that's the thing is, like, he even acknowledged that this is a social experiment. And depending on how it goes, for, like, millions of people, this could move, like, potentially he could wind up being, like, Nolan and make a Snyderverse
Why are these directors?
where he's doing his own thing. And it's all Christopher, like, basically,
where's Christopher Nolan?
Zack Snyder could wind up being Kevin Feige of the DCU. He's just like, he could wind up being the.
That is the scariest thing you've said for the past 56 minutes.
Why would you say those words together in the same
Why are you
sentence?
speaking to existence? Don't speak
Don't
it.
say it. You know how we do
Conceal,
that.
don't
All I'm
feel.
saying is, if it happens, I called it. That's all I gotta say.
You started
You're
something.
acting like Flash in this movie.
Okay, you can't do that
you can't
here.
say that.
Dang, it's a lot of
Make my
there's a
own
lot of
future.
dialogue going on right now.
We're about to have a celebrity death match. I'm going to be like, and then Kevin Feige versus
Dance,
Zack
my
Snyder.
puppets,
Kevin
dance.
Feige gonna snap. He'll beat the shit out of Zack Snyder. Like, come on now. No, it's not going to happen. Marvel has already built up way too much for him to even attempt to try to be like, okay, guys, I'm back. So we're going to rewrite everything the way it is. This is gonna be a thing, but hey, y'all, we don't have to support that. You don't have to, if you don't, or you're not into it. We have other DC outlets to focus on, but
Hold on.
it is gonna be
is the one who
annoying
live
if this
tweeted the
takes
whole
over
movie.
everything. I'm not gonna live tweet nothing else. Okay, Ray.
Are we done with DC? This is my final point of this conversation. Like, is this I need
You know the
support?
movie, right? DC Universe.
No, in the movies, yes. With Snyder, are we done with
Okay,
Snyder?
okay, cool.
Because I'm ready to be
Yes.
done with Snyder. I want to move on. And if we keep talking about these movies,
world's not.
we are a part of this problem with this franchise. So, are we done with DC, or are we still watching
but
stuff?
we
This is
have
my
to talk
last
about
question
it.
for you.
Well,
No,
let's see.
we do not.
I think
Does
you think
Shazam
about
2
it.
count?
I say no. I
It
say
does,
no, and I say no
think.
because I remember.
But maybe
our
not.
good
Maybe that
friend-
wasn't Snyder. It's if his name's on
Well,
it.
I think-
If his name's not
I'm
on
gonna
it,
say
you can
no.
have it.
I'm gonna say no,
Okay, thanks.
and I'm gonna go back to. I remember. I have a vivid memory of I went to go see Suicide Squad with Ryan Fitzpatrick, one of our good friends.
Oh, no.
And I remember him standing up in the middle of it and saying, "I'm never watching another DC film again." And after that day, has been like just waiting until like someone tells him about it, and he'll determine if he watches it. And I don't think he's watched one since. I want to say I think he saw.
Good for him.
Batman v Superman and said, "You know what? I was right. I'm never watching this again. I put myself right
Good
again."
for him.
And so I think I'm gonna get on board saying I'm also done because the next movie coming out is Suicide Squad 2, and I'm like, that's also a no for me, dog. Yeah, I think I might also be done with it. I mean, until I see something that looks remotely enjoyable and remotely worked on that does a lot of work to really flesh out these characters and respect like their growth. Yeah, I think I'm out.
Yeah. I've never seen the first Suicide, and I've never seen the second one. But Shazam 2 was the only movie
There
I...
is no second one yet.
Well, I mean, it's coming out. I'm not going to see it. That's what I meant. But I'm definitely seeing Shazam 2 because Shazam's my favorite DC Universe movie, if you want to count that. Because it was an actual story with likable characters, and I like the writing, and I just want to see what's in store for the second one. But does that mean I'm going to get into the Black Adam and stuff? No, I'm going to stop right after that. So that's as far as I see myself watching DC movies.
Yeah,
Let's see
I
if
don't
she
see
does that.
Snyder's name on anything Shazam related yet, which is good. That means
You better not touch that.
yeah.
It's
I'm
good.
just done with Snyder. Like we don't need any more of this. Like if he becomes Kevin Feige, I'm also super definitely done. 'Cause it's just like
Stop saying
we
that
can't.
shit.
I know.
Oh god, that's really gonna happen.
I'm
It's
sorry.
official.
He said it too.
You're right.
I know. That's why I'm
sorry.
When
scared.
Ray says it, it's a bigger chance now.
I hope not.
And he was the one saying stop talking about it.
You're right.
He just signed and confirmed it.
I didn't.
The darkness
not gonna
has
happen.
come.
What did the ship say? The future is now rooted in the present. That's exactly what you guys just did. Look what you did. Look what you did.
This action is irreversible. This action is irreversible.
That really weird robot scene where she somehow knew about the past and future being changed.
It was Superman's ship. Because,
Yeah, but it somehow
Victor and her
has-
homies.
Yeah, but it somehow has the ability to look forward in time and notice the timeline is adjusting and
That
say
I
it out
know.
loud.
Kryptonian technology. I don't know.
Thank you, because I also was
That
like,
didn't make no sense either.
I also was like, how do you know this? You've been sitting here on this like plethora of knowledge around space-time continuums. Anyway, it's
Is
fine.
it
It's fine.
because... I was gonna say, is it because like she just knew mother boxes were evil, but then it was
They're not
Cyborg
evil.
was the one that was
They're
able
not
to see
evil.
it?
Remember, they're not evil.
Well, she didn't like it. She didn't like the way they were.
Even though they
She
had
said, "Don't
literal
even try."
ghosts coming off of them when Cyborg went into the Unity to take them apart. They had little
Right,
phantoms
right.
inside of them, but they're not evil
He
though.
was-
According to Cyborg, they're not evil.
Okay. Well, he had to be the one to find
Their
out because the shit
personality.
was like, I
No,
don't
it's a
trust
bad
the mother
idea. Don't do
boxes.
this. Don't do
do
this.
it.
Don't do it.
I'm telling y'all.
Please don't.
I'm telling y'all, don't do it. Oh, you did it?
Oh,
Good luck.
and now you can't undo it.
You can't do it.
Bye.
And I was like, "What? Who's the ship? Does the ship have a name? Is this a character? Why are we having a lot of resistance against the ship?" It was just so much.
Yeah.
But so overall, if we want to say like a rating, a yes or no to people who still have not watched, how would you say something about it, Marlon?
I gave it a 5,
Out of
10.
okay. I gave a 5 out of 10. And in reference, I gave the Whedon version a 2. So it's a little bit better. A little bit better. Amy?
Probably the same. Probably about a 5.
5, yeah. Ray?
5 is fine. 5 is fine.
Because the
What do you
movie
really
is
want to
fine.
say?
Because the movie's fine.
Okay.
Ultimately,
really?
my rating comes down to if he had. This is 4 hours. If someone told him you have 2.5 hours to make a movie, would the end result he have be any different than what we got the first time around? And just thinking about the amount he would have to cut to make 2.5 hours, realistically, there would be maybe the biggest change would have been just the ending and how that chose to end. Otherwise, it would have been virtually the exact same film, honestly.
Yeah.
The ending was just different because right now we have this dome because we have two of the mother boxes, so that changes how it ends. Also, let's be real, like that scene with the Flash running at the speed of light, yet he's somehow still visible to be shot with by a sniper on a roof. I didn't understand that scene.
Dude.
So how
I
are
said
you running at the
same
speed of
thing.
light, but you can still be visible running in a circle, and you can still be picked off by a sniper with this red laser gun?
That's just as luck.
That had
Darn.
to build the drama.
That's just as luck, Marlon.
Pure
you know how he's
storytelling.
always having a bad day.
Apparently, out of all the parademons, that one showed up today
Got his
the
job
one.
that day.
with a positive mindset.
Hopefully he got promoted.
and a couple
He
of
ate
lucky
his
charms.
Wheaties. For breakfast, yep.
And the fact that they fully showed this little guy being like, "Oh, I got you," and then just see him shoot him, and it's like, really? He somehow can see. Mind you, earlier in the movie, we see him grabbing these boulders out of the air, and all we see is just flashes of his body because he's moving so quickly, and all you see is just like a little all you see is like an after image of his body, and he's moving in a confined space. If he's been allowed to run a lap around an entire location, we should only see just wind moving. We shouldn't see his body at all.
So I just shot the wind and got lucky.
Yeah, and even if he's moving that fast, he should be borderline intangible to where things will go through him as opposed to actually clipping him. But he apparently is still corporeal enough to get hit by things.
That's why I don't like this Flash. I did not like this Flash in this movie at all. I do find it I think it's kind of rude that they didn't say that there was flashing lights in the beginning of this movie, because I was thinking about people who are sensitive to those lights. I had problems with those lights myself that I could not watch him run. It bothered me. It's so annoying because it's just, and coming from watching CW's Flash, which is so much better. It was just really annoying having him move every time. Like, I can't see, and I'm going to give myself a headache watching. And then, I understand he wanted his approach of who Barry was, but, like, I'm sorry. I just did not. I don't care. And they're still pushing for this movie. Like, that's the movie I'm going to be like, y'all don't watch this movie.
Well,
don't watch this movie.
It gets harder, Kat, because of all the positive feedback from maybe the Snyderverse, or maybe because of some background things. Cyborg, Ray Fisher, is signed on to be a part of the Flash movie.
But did they keep him in? Because they wrote him out, so they're bringing him in.
He's bringing him back in. Snyder sent out some congratulatory tweets, and I was like, "Is this because of the movie?
When did this happen?
That they're bringing him back in?
Was it today?
It might have been over the week. I don't know, but I definitely was like,
all right, let me go.
I was looking things up, and I was like, oh, he's coming back into the Flash. I'm like, oh Lord, this film is already starting to have some actual effects.
I just need a Cyborg solo thing, or he needs to be teamed up with someone else, just not with Flash.
It could be a buddy movie.
I don't want that.
A buddy cop film. Flash
I just want Cyborg. I don't want
a booyah.
He was like acting more like wannabe Quicksilver anyway, and that made me even more offended. I was like, booyah, stop.
Booyah! We'll see.
Oh,
I mean,
gosh.
I think if anything, this was an ultimate win for Snyder,
the Snyder boys and the fangirls.
Yeah, it was ultimately a win for Snyder and for HBO. So we'll see what happens, honestly.
Marlon, are you sure about this Flash thing? I don't see anything.
Yep, I can send it to you if you'd like, but we're gonna just move along the conversation.
Do we have anything else we want to add? Or are we...
Nope.
Elephant.
I think
Ray's done.
Yeah,
Ray's done. I'm just trying to get to where Ray is
I
at.
have my final statement, and then I'm done. Now
Because if I keep thinking I'm going to bring up something else, and it's going to make me mad. And I'm like, nope. I'm going to close that door. This is experience that, again, I did it for the name of science. I did it just to be like, is it really better? It was, but it did not need to be 4 hours. There was a lot of stuff that I did not like. I mean, I don't know what to do. Like, I don't understand how... For me, it was Warner Brothers that said a few days ago, maybe we're going to make the Snyderverse more canon. And I'm like, you can't just keep switching. That means you're opening the doors towards more of this. I don't know. People are watching it because we're in a pandemic, right? So if you keep making these films, eventually we're going to have to go back to theaters. Who's going to be sitting for 4 hours watching these movies when I could just... be watching HBO Max, watching Justice League and Batman animated and all that. Because, I don't know. And I feel like that's where Marvel is starting to surpass, again, DC. Not only they've been doing it in movies, but TV shows. Like, they're being very thoughtful with their shows, setting up so many opportunities. Rather, that's more movies and more TV shows, And next week we'll get a chance to talk about Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which I'm very excited and which I was very happy to see right after watching Justice League. It's a nice palate cleanser.
Absolutely.
Thank goodness. Thank you, Kevin Feige. That's all I'm going to say.
Zach, we'll see you soon.
Saved by Friday morning. No, Marlon, stop.
Gonna go get a Batman gun for this guy.
Into existence. He's creating an alternate timeline.
We'll have to wait and see. Might be in it.
Oh gosh, I just knowing that this was done. It happened. It's done. I'm just hoping, in the future. I don't know for Warner Brothers. They have a lot of mess to clean up, inside and out. I'm just gonna say I'm just glad for some of the actors that got their shine. I'm just more happy about that. Those actors got their shine, and that we were able to see it because that's what I really needed out of that movie. But other than that, that's it. I'm done.
Wow, this is our shortest episode in a very long time.
Are you serious? I thought we've been talking for 6 hours.
No, it's an hour and 10.
Yeah, because
Marlon's
this
Corners?
movie was trash.
Hour and 10 is good.
I think we're good.
Yeah,
I think we're good.
I think it's okay. It's an hour. It's pretty good.
It's fine.
That's really good, you guys. That means we're getting older. We know how to cut it off.
That is not what's happening. That is so not what's happening. Y'all don't change in 1 week. Like, oh, now we're gonna be older. We're gonna talk less. No, I'm sorry. No.
I agree with Amy.
I was hoping on it.
No.
With that said, why do you feel like you're looking at me and Marlon? Anyway, with that
Where
said,
else am I gonna look?
with that being said, thank you guys for enduring what we had to endure last week for the sake of conversation. Appreciate everything everyone brought to the table, and we're done. We're throwing out the window. To our listeners, thank you for supporting us on many platforms, whether that's listening for our episodes about this topic for over a year now, and the tweets and the support and the comments. We love all that. Thank you for checking in, and if you have anything to add about this movie, please let us know. Did you watch it? Did you not watch it? Do you want to? Why? Just let us know, because I feel like a lot of people on Twitter are these type of fans they kind of remind me of the fans who really liked Rise of the Skywalker. They were like, yeah, and I'm like, but why? It's almost like the same type of thing that's happening now with this movie. I'm just like, I don't understand why people love it, but okay, people love what they love. I don't. Anyway, thank you guys for coming around, and again, check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. That said, watch a really great Marvel show, play your game, and geek on.